Who can forget that image, now frozen in our brains, of the beautiful and sophisticated bride posing for her wedding photos when an explosion hits? On August 4th, 2020, a large amount of ammonium nitrate stored at the port of Beirut, the capital of Lebanon, exploded, causing at least 190 deaths, 6,500 injuries, and $15 billion in property damage, and leaving an estimated 300,000 people homeless. According to Wikipedia, around 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate, or the equivalent of about a 1.1 kiloton TNT explosion, had been improperly stored in a warehouse for 6 years, after having been confiscated by the Lebanese authorities from the abandoned ship, the MV Rhosus. It is not yet known what caused the ammonium nitrate to detonate, although an investigation is ongoing that the possible causes including a fire in an alleged fireworks warehouse, a missiles attack, or a fire in a nearby ammunitions warehouse. It is accepted internationally that the current Lebanese government is corrupt and ineffective. According to a story in the Toronto Star, the story really begins of the explosion as late as 2013 with a shady Russian-owned Moldovan-flagged ship, the MV Rhosus. It made an unscheduled stop in Beirut in port for repairs. Its cargo included thousands of tons of high-density ammonium nitrate, which is a common fertilizer, but also an ingredient for an explosive. And it was supposed to be delivered to a company in Mozambique, allegedly to make fertilizer. The ship was deemed unseaworthy and held by the Lebanese authorities until it had paid its berthing fees. But the ship's owners abandoned it, and the cargo was transferred to a warehouse parked near a cache of confiscated fireworks and left to languish for more than 6 years in a bureaucratic tangle. Officials say that on August 4th, a fire started at the port after what other officials said was a maintenance activity, though the exact cause has yet to be determined. The blaze spread to the ammonium nitrate stockpile and detonated it. It is estimated that the blast was the equivalent of 200 to 300 tons of high explosive. One British expert has claimed that it's probably up there among the biggest non-nuclear explosions of all time. According to the Al Jazeera news agency, so far about 25 people have been arrested and 33 charged in the blast probe. Nearly 50 more, including current and former ministers and heads of security agencies, have been heard as witnesses. Investigations conducted with current and former ministers raise suspicions on the responsibility of the ammonium nitrate in the port and how to deal with it responsible despite the danger, the source told Al Jazeera. Each of these ministers was aware of the presence of ammonium in the port, whether through written correspondence that reached them or from the port administration or through reports of the security services located in the port, but they did not take decisive action in this regard. The source said it is believed many will take advantage of political immunity. Maybe the state specialized body known as the Supreme Court for the trial of presidents and ministers, and composed of 7 members of Parliament and 8 judges that can investigate ministers and ultimately hold them to account. The body has never held a minister accountable, partially due to the high bar it says for beginning any processes that the consent of 2/3 of Lebanon's 120-member parliament and legislature. Okay, maybe we start again from camera. The only hope. The only hope may be the state specialized body known as the Supreme Court for the trial of presidents and ministers, and composed of 7 members of parliament and 8 judges that can investigate ministers and ultimately hold them accountable. The body has never held a minister accountable, by the way, partially due to the high bar set for beginning any proceedings, that is the consent of 2/3 of Lebanon's 128-member legislature. Conspiracy theorists like those belonging to the so-called 9/11 truth movement soon contended that there was more to this explosion than meets the eye. Duff Gordon, editor of Veterans Today, a website that bills itself as serving the clandestine community, but which many dismiss as peddling fake news, claims that ammonium nitrate cache was part of a multi-year setup orchestrated by Israel to obscure its bombings of the ports with tactical nuclear weapons. Start again. New teeth. Duff Gordon, editor of Veterans Today, a website that bills itself as serving the clandestine community, but which many dismiss as peddling fake news, me included, claims the ammonium nitrate cache was actually part of a multi-year setup orchestrated by Israel to obscure the bombing of the port with tactical nuclear weapons. Yes, you heard it. It's a conspiracy theorist dream, and I'm sure the mystery will not be over for quite some time. You can Google it, or you can check below for updates. Remember, during a pandemic, wear a mask over your nose and mouth in public places, and always stay 2 meters or 6 feet away from people not in your bubble. Fair winds, my friends, and stay safe.